Welcome, this is Shakti Carola Nevrin, your online astrologer. I live on Maui, but we do have a cold winter here, so you can tell. So anyway, I talked in my last forecast, weekly forecast on Saturday, already a lot about the sun in Aquarius, so you might want to listen to that, because the new moon happens always when the moon is in conjunction, as we call it, with the sun. So they're in the same sign, in the same degree. So I want to take that Aquarius discussion I have started on Saturday a little deeper today. So that's the nature of the moon. The moon connects us to what's under the surface of our consciousness, our head, our intellectual filter towards the world. So the moon, when we look at a wave, connects us to the belly of the wave, and the sun connects us to the top of the wave, which according to Carl Jung is just 5 to 10% of the whole wave. So we know there's more to integrate and look at and becoming aware of, which is all under the surface. So whenever we have a new moon, no matter in which sign, what's happening, we get a new access to that inner, deeper, unconscious, psychological material. So it's like we grow new roots into our unconsciousness. And with that, we start on that new journey, which I call the journey of emotional maturation through the months. So the moon takes, as we know, 1 month to go through all the signs in the zodiac. So about 2.5 days, the moon is in one sign. So we especially look at those high points of the beginning of that journey, the full light exposure in the full moon of the journey, and then the waning and closure of the journey. So the new moon and that emotional journey throughout the months is always described by the sign it is happening in. And in a way, you could also look at it, it's a new beginning, it's starting a new cycle of evolution. But also because a new moon is the sun-moon conjunction, what's happening is there is an alignment between the head and the belly, or the head and the heart. So this is why it's so helpful to know where the moon is and to be more attuned to what's happening. And I call it practice astrological awareness. So that way you have that focus of self-inquiry and self-reflection. And astrology is a wonderful way to do that. So today I'm going to talk with you about the new moon in Aquarius. That alignment of the head with the heart in the sign of Aquarius. So Aquarius in the classic astrology is ruled by Saturn, and in the newer astrology we look at Uranus as being the transpersonal dimension Aquarius is giving us access to. So this new moon is happening exactly at 4:07 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at 8 degrees of Aquarius. So as you might know, Aquarius is looked at the sign of the visionary, the outsider, the rebel, the initiation of sudden changes. So that's quite strong, forceful, powerful sign to begin with. So the new beginning of this new moon is especially powerful because it's accompanied by Venus square to Saturn, and Saturn is a classic ruler of Aquarius. And also later in the day, the Mars leaves the sign of Pisces and steps into the next sign, the sign of Aries, which is its own sign. So it's especially powerful there. So low end of Mars in its own sign, very powerful, is violent, reactivity, volatility of any kind. So aggression, violence is a very low end, and we might look at things like that in the aftermath of the inauguration of the new president. So the waves are going high, and all that is connected with our emotional filter, the filter of our heart. So there are two ways to deal with that. First of all, we might be able to touch into the potential of really connecting more deeply with our individual vision, with our individual guidance. So remember I said Aquarius is a visionary. So here we have people who are a little bit ahead of the mainstream. And we often look at them as genius, as originals, and as forerunners in a certain way. So without Aquarius, there wouldn't be any kind of evolution or growth. So Aquarian people kind of have that potential to help and contribute to that overall collective consciousness. So I strongly believe that this is where our individual point of power is, where and how we showing up in life with our individual expression, with the way we connect with other people, the way we do things in life, and to become really aware of what drives that. So the low end of the Saturn in Uranus is to get dissociated, to feel disconnected from the mainstream. And that can be a very lonely place. So in the last video I talked about how important it is when you have any planets in Aquarius to find like-minded people, to find people who have similar goals, similar intentions, soul intentions on the journey. So that's why Aquarian planets in your chart are harder to be with and live on the high-end level of things when you're young. Because remember high school, all you wanted was to be cool, to be fashionable, to fit in. So for Aquarian, not really possible. So later on you learn that there are other outsiders like you, misfits. So you want to create consciously a group, a tribe, of people and friends around you. So that will help your individual sense of disconnection and isolation and alienation, which is not a fun emotional experience. So with this new moon in Aquarius, we all gonna get a little dose of that. We all gonna feel things are out of hand, we're out of control. We definitely feel dissociated from many things happening out there in the political landscape, and we have to deal with it. So we can either surrender and let it all go and not care anymore, which actually is not so easy. Or we can really step back into our individual power point and see what we truly can do in our own life. So the new moon is a wonderful way to more deeply connect with your life's vision. So what is your vision for your lifetime? That's really the big question. So where do you feel the challenges around your individual growth and your individual self-expression? And when you are asking these kind of questions, that is a sign of a self-reflected life. And a self-reflected life, use astrology to do that, or other tools or paths. Whenever you do that, you live a life more fully lived because of that self-reflection. I believe the biggest danger in these modern days we are in, with everything what's happening out there, is to give up, to not step in our individual power, to not do what we can do. Of course, karmically, we all had lifetimes where we were probably killed, tortured, where we outsider, where in the society we lived. So I do believe we all carry an imprint of fear around not being part of the mainstream, of not fitting in. Because, I mean, even nowadays, people get attacked for not being like everybody else. So that's the invitation with this new moon, to really connect with who are your friends, who are you in your life, how can you live that self-reflected, self-empowered life, listening to that inner guidance coming from within instead of listening to outer guidance, good advice. So we all are invited to listen and follow that inner drummer. And then with the Mars in its own sign in Aries, the high end of that we can tap into as individuals is passion. Mars in Aries is very passionate. So we need to find something in our life we feel passionate about. And when we do and we act on it, when we take steps, then we feel empowered and we feel good. So the new moon is really about reconsidering our emotional journey and what it really takes to be on our own side and to take care for our own needs first and for our emotions, our world of feelings. And our feelings are really our guidance system from our soul, from our higher self, if you want to call it that way. So however we are able to tap into the emotions, that guides us. So in general we can say if we don't feel good, if we're anxious, angry, upset, bored, this is a sign from our inner guidance that we are not on the right track. We need to change something, adjust something. And if we feel good and lighthearted and optimistic, then we feel in the flow. We are in the right direction. So the whole law of attraction teaching from Esther Hicks is a good resource to really remind yourself how to do that, how to align yourself emotional, to make yourself feel a little bit better. And with this new moon in Aquarius, the tendency is to feel shitty, because if you're only identified with the top of the wave, you feel disconnected by that separation. And enlightenment is actually when that identification point shifts down to where the wave meets the ocean, the ultimate consciousness, all that is, morphogenetic field, however you want to call it. So that's the invitation, as I see it, with the new moon in Aquarius, that we can take more heart and self-awareness of how we listen to that inner guidance. And with the Mars, there's actually energy there to really implement and take steps and make a decision how we want to go about it. So you might know me, if you're following me, as somebody who works with the gemstones as anchors, as focus points. So I already talked a little bit about turquoise in the weekly forecast. So that's one of the strongest Aquarian stones. So if you meditate with it, put it on your third eye, that is a wonderful way to tap into that inner soul guidance inside of yourself. And if you don't have a turquoise, you might play around with a chrysocolla or aquamarine. So all the turquoisey stones are kind of stones carrying the Aquarian or Uranian spirit. So when you work with stones, it's a really nice way to instantly change and adjust that energy flow, that subtle body around your physical body. So that's why the joy to work with stones is very feelable. So you can put a stone onto yourself and you feel you're sinking into the zone. So that's why for us Westerners it's so hard to just sit still and meditate, because then the monkey mind gets really crazy. So to just put stones on your chakras, the colors which belong to the chakras, is a wonderful way to center and find that perfect alignment. So okay, I don't see any questions here. So if you like my material, please like it, share it on your pages, leave me a comment. If you ask questions, I will get back to you. So I hope this was helpful. I wish you a wonderful new moon, and connect with me. Let me know how you like my material. So all the best to you. Namaste and aloha, as we say here on Maui.